Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Kinfolk Farm. It is the day after the house fire. We lost our entire house and everything in it. We literally... Hey, hush up. We literally have nothing except what was outside of the house. We didn't have any clothes. We didn't have anything. I want to say thank you, Mia, hush, Mia, hush. The dogs are in shock too, I think. But they've been staying, they were fine. Everybody was fine. I've had a lot of comments. I just want to, like I say, this is actually a video I've been working on for a couple of weeks with spraying for your grapes. We didn't know this was going to happen. But I just thought, we were out here cleaning out the freezers. Everything in the downstairs was fine. We lost everything from the first floor up, second floor, we lost everything. We were okay. Mia, that's enough. We lost everything. Everybody was okay. Kim was in the hot tub and she smelled smoke come through the house. When she opened the door, black smoke come billowing out. She ran through and found smoke, fire over the oven where the microwave and all that is. So we think it was bad wiring or something. We don't know. She sprayed it with a fire extinguisher, used a whole fire extinguisher. It just blazed right back out. So she ran out. Down the stairs, called the fire department, called me, and I was almost in Alabama. I was at work, so I turned around. That's why I had my work uniform on. I turned around, came back, and it's all gone. But thank you guys for your support. I truly appreciate it. It's really humbling to go through something like this. When you see people go through it, you're like, oh yeah, man, that's terrible. I hate that for them. Is there any way I can help out? It really sucks when it happens to you. It's really been devastating. But thank goodness my wife is Miss Preparedness. We have tons of insurance. We are ready for things like this. We insure everything. We are super prepared for stuff like that. Thank God, because she said no problem. We paid the house off and we were trying to rebuild. We just put new carpet in there. We put a new sliding door on the back. We were about to rebuild the back deck. We were about to do a lot of work. We had a bunch of trees taken out. We were really putting a lot of money in the farm. These stupid gnats. But now, looking at the positive side, I told her, I said, now you get the house that you always wanted, built the way you want it. So it'll work out. It's just going to take some time, and we're actually staying. The farm I talked about before, the little people, the folks that do all the dove hunting across the street, they have a house over there that nobody lives in, and he called us and said, I heard what happened. If y'all want to stay here, it's fully furnished. Stay here, take your time, and get back on your feet. So that's a huge blessing. And we've also said if that don't work, we've been dying to get an RV, so we may bring in an RV and put it over there by the guest house, hook up some septic, power, all that junk, and stay there. So we're ready. It's just a bummer it's funny, you think, I need a shaver, I need some deodorant. It all burned up in the fire. Every single thing you think you sort of take for granted in life, it's all burned up in the fire. But anyway, I'll do some more videos on this. Right now, I got to get back to work. I'm emptying out the freezers. The meat in the deep freezers were fine. I have another deep freezer at the guest house, so we're just putting in. This is huge, so we're just taking everything over there, shuttling it back and forth. Thank you guys so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And now, back to the video. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Kinfolk Farm. Thank you guys so much for checking out my video. Today, we're going to talk about our spray program for our muscadines, what we do for weed control here at Kinfolk Farm. I never made a weed control video. It's just so much negative stuff about spraying, but we're not an organic grower, so we do spray. We spray, but we also do something else. Guys out a little early because I'm going to be out here running around for the day, and really don't worry about hawks much when I'm out here. That's our biggest predators, these stupid hawks out here. I think that is for everybody, but for us, really. I was going to go work in our garden and make a garden video because we're starting to get our garden ready. I just plowed it last week, and every weekend it rains. I actually got the day off today, so I thought I'd try to get out here and get some stuff done. this is going to be our garden for the year. I'm super excited. It's going to be huge, but we're going to try to fill it up. I've been really slack on the garden the last couple of years, and this year I think I'm going to make up for it. I think I'm really going to work hard in the garden this year, seeing as how I don't have to do any pig stuff. That seemed to help me up a lot every year, dealing with pigs, building pens. But this year, for this video, we're going to talk about weed control. If you guys didn't know, I planted a brand new row of Ruby Crisp. I'm finally growing some Ruby Crisp. I put 5 in. Excited to see how they do. We're going to talk a little bit about our weed control. We spray here at Kinfolk Farm. We spray. I'll show you the product here in just a minute that we use. You can get it on Amazon. It's super easy to find. In stores, it's not. But on Amazon, you can order it and be ready to go. Well, years ago, when we first started planting muscadines, 7 or 8 years ago, right when we first bought the house, I just wanted a couple of rows. So I put in these 2 rows right here. I put in 1 row of scuppernong and 1 row of muscadines. I don't even have a clue what the variety are. I didn't know anything about growing muscadines. I just bought a bunch of different varieties, and they did really well. So we got to thinking about how do we control our weeds. We started learning a little more about muscadines, and I needed to learn how to control my weeds. So we had a big garden up here, a couple of big gardens that we used the weed barrier fabric with to control weeds in the garden. We had a lot left over, so we used it on the muscadines. It was an absolute pain in the butt to get down. But once we staked it down, it has been fantastic. And you can see this row is loaded with weed fabric. This row, that row, and that row. Now we did run out on, on both these rows, so we have to spray the end of these 2 rows right here. But this weed fabric works absolutely fantastic. I wished we could do the big garden, the big vineyard in weed fabric. But this is our little small vineyard right here in front of our house. That we started. Like I say, we put in these 2 rows, then the next year we put in these 4 rows, then we went to work on the big vineyard. And it's like every year we just added and added and added. And of course now we got a big U-pick vineyard for the public to come out and enjoy, which I hope you guys come out too. But that weed barrier fabric, I can't say enough about it. It is fantastic. We've never had any problems with it, never had weeds come through it, a few. Wherever there's a little crack or a hole. But that stuff's held up strong for 7 or 8 years. I can't remember how long it's been, but it has been an absolute long time. And if you can afford it, great. I can't afford to put it on 21 rows that are 240 foot long. I just can't afford it. And it would take me forever, because these few little rows took us forever just to do. These are only, let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, they're 100 foot long. Right, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 foot long. But it took forever to put that stuff out, to stake it all down. It would cost me a fortune. And as a, I guess a commercial grower, I guess that's what I don't know. But for a big grower, it would cost a lot of time, money, and a lot of work. And I'm getting older, I'm getting fatter, and I ain't got it in me. Spraying takes enough out of me. But let me show you guys what we use to spray the vineyard and how well it works. Now this video, I'll shoot it today, and I think it may be another week before I show you the final results. But the weed barrier fabric, I love it. I absolutely love it. If you just have a small little row and would like to put some weed barrier fabric down, it's a pain in the butt, but once you get it down and staked really well, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Say again, we spray here at Kinfolk Farm. We're not organic. We use a lot of fertilizer and a lot of weed killer, bug killer, and then this year I'll be spraying for disease and fungus and stuff like that. And I've never done that before, but I think I had some problems on a couple of rows of my plants this year, so I'm going to try to solve that. But anyway, we're talking about weed control today, and I use a product from High Yield called Killzall. It's a super concentrate weed and grass killer. Now I'm gonna tell you, this stuff is amazing. It kills, if it's green, it'll be brown in a week. It kills it. And I've had questions about this because I've had people comment and ask before what I use, and I go ahead and tell them what I use. And I've had a lot of questions about it. Does it kill your muscadines if you get it on the trunk? That's the biggest one. I always emphasize, go buddy, I always emphasize, go. I always emphasize to keep your trunk clean. I make sure I have nothing growing on my trunk. Because if you spray this on it, I'm not sure if it'll kill the plant. It'll definitely kill whatever little leaves you have on the bottom. But I try not to chance it, so I keep my trunks clean. And also I want my growth up high on the top wire. But this stuff is amazing. I'm going to show you here in just a second. But it doesn't bother your plants if you get it on the trunk. I haven't had any problem. I've used this stuff every single year on our plants, and I've never had any problem whatsoever with it bothering our muscadines. So don't worry. Now I don't go and just spray it all over the trunk, of course. I try to miss the trunk as much as possible, but you will get a little overspray sometimes on your trunk. Don't let that scare you. It will not bother your plants. All right, now I use a little backpack sprayer as well. People gonna say, get you a four-wheeler. I need a four-wheeler. I want a four-wheeler, it's coming. And get a battery-operated sprayer. I want all that stuff, but it costs money. So I use a 5-gallon backpack sprayer, which I need the exercise. So this is perfect for me. And also, it's got directions of how much to use on the back. I don't read the directions for one thing. It's so small, I can barely see it. I just pour a little in there, not much at all, because it's super concentrated. And fill up the 5-gallon tank and get at it. I say again, I don't measure. I just pour a little in there, even for 5 gallons. It doesn't take much. It's super concentrated, and you can get it on Amazon. So super easy to find. Kills all. Now, needless to say, it is heavy. And everything I do out here is always the hard way. All right, we're just going to spray about 16 or so inches on both sides of the row. Super simple. And this stuff will magically do its work in about a week's time. It really takes a minute. You're expecting it overnight, but you'll watch it for 3 or 4 or 5 days and you won't see nothing. All of a sudden, it'll all be gone. All right, well, I'm gonna get out here and finish the rest of the vineyard. There's a lot. It doesn't take too long though. A lot of walking. Like I say, I do want a four-wheeler, and one is coming. That's my next story. I'm tired of walking up and down these roads for everything I do. But in a week or so, I'll come back and finish up this video, which y'all will see it all. Y'all see the finished product, and then you'll see exactly how this kills all works. It works really, really well. But one thing I want to emphasize is we will do this again in another couple of months maybe, and the leaves will be on then, heavy. I would not recommend spraying on a windy day. Get up early in the morning and spray. That way it's got all day for the sun to dry it up and let it do its work. I don't spray in the evening. I like to spray early in the morning and while the wind is down. You don't want this stuff spraying all over your vineyard. because it may not be good. You want to keep it on a non-windy day is when you want to spray. And also, I thought of something while I was spraying. I said I was going to tell you guys things that you probably shouldn't do. I get a lot of comments of people wanting to put down mulch. Now, as you can see, I got 5 dump truck loads of mulch right there, just outside the vineyard. That's not for the muscadines. That's for the garden and all the blackberries and anything else we needed out here. But we do not put the mulch on the muscadines. Why, you may ask? Because muscadines are a really shallow root plant. They're just underneath the surface. So the fear is if you put mulch down, mulch is very, very loose material. The roots may want to grow up into the mulch. And if that happens and you get a nice, good couple of cold, frosty days, it may kill the roots, which will end up killing your plants. I've never tested that, but that's what I've always heard. So, and I've heard it for big growers. Do not mulch. Do not mulch. Now, if you got, I guess you could cover them or something. You could do whatever precautions you want. But look, now, I just can't do it out here. And I'm not gambling on the money I've spent on these muscadines. And I'm not starting over. So I've heard not to mulch, so we don't mulch. And I would recommend not doing it because it just makes all the sense in the world. I have pulled up dead plants and the roots are just under the surface. It's really crazy. It's not like you have to work real hard to get them out from the ground. Like they have a long tap root in it. They're very shallow rooted plants, and the mulch could cause your roots to grow up and maybe freeze out in a good cold winter. And you don't want that to happen. So I would recommend spraying or the weed fabric, whichever you prefer. Now, also, I've seen on a lot of bigger vineyards. Now, I burn YouTube up learning stuff about muscadines, and I ask Ison's Nursery. If you guys are looking for some plants, I'd highly recommend Ison's Nursery. That's where I buy all my stuff. That's where I get all my knowledge from, is from Ison's Nursery. But as your plants get older, I don't think you really have to spray as much. I said it on the last video. My brother has some vines. He's got 12 or so vines, I guess, 2 or 3 rows. And he don't spray. He's got he's a stickler for that. Now, he fertilizes like crazy, sprays for bugs, all that junk, but he does not like to put down weed killer for some reason. So, which is fine. And he gets as many grapes as I get every year. I tell him, I have to call him and remind him, you know, today prune, it's time to prune. It's time to fertilize. I remind him of all that stuff. When I tell him, say, put your weed killer, I'm not putting that stuff down. So he doesn't put down weed killer either. And but he gets tons of grapes. So later I might test it on the small vineyard. I may test it on the small vineyard, not this year, not this year, but maybe next year. I don't know. I just do the same thing every year. It works every year, so I don't want to change anything. We get gobs and gobs, so many grapes. I wish you guys would come out in September. Y'all would be blown away. But we get lots of grapes, and I'm scared to change anything up or do anything different. I may test it on the big vineyard now that the plants are getting older. But for your smaller plants, definitely do something about your weed control, because these grasses and weeds will absorb all the water and all the nutrients that your plant should be getting. My son has some plants that he has a lot of slow growth. Now, he has a lot of deer problems, but he don't spray either. And I tell him all the time if he would spray and compete with knock some of this competition down, he'd get faster growth. And I do believe that. On your younger plants, control your weeds for the simple fact they are in competition. Those little skinny vines are in competition with all the weeds and grass. And if you pull that grass up, you know there's roots everywhere. They absorb all the water and all the nutrients that you want your muscadine to get. So I highly recommend for the first few years to do something about your weed control. After that, you may give it a break. And I may one day, but right now I'm sticking with what I know. All right, still haven't burned the piles of vines yet, but they're going. It's been raining, so I can't do it. But I thought I'd walk y'all down the vineyard. We did this spraying on Wednesday. Today's Saturday, and I thought I would take y'all and let y'all look down the vines and see if you could see a little bit of a difference. You can see it, the color changing. It's really a slow going process. Like I say, it'll drive you nuts thinking it didn't really work, but you could see the change. It won't be long. It will be complete bare dirt. No weeds whatsoever. You can see it really, really well right there. And there it is. Looking good. Wednesday is when we sprayed. Today's Saturday. By next Wednesday, it'll really be browned up. But this will be great to help beat back the competition for your water and your nutrients that your plants really need when they first really get started. And as you can see, the buds are coming on. It is right around the corner. The leaves are finally breaking out. It won't be long now. It won't be long now. Look at that. Look at this thing blasting. It won't be long now. The plants will be begging for some fertilizer and water. Of course, they're getting plenty of water now. It's been raining like crazy. I can't get nothing done with all the rain. The wind's blowing like crazy. I'm not going to drag this little part out. The next clip will be, I would probably say, next Wednesday. I'm gonna probably do another clip next Wednesday and show you the difference from Saturday to Wednesday. So it'll be a complete week. Okay. Well, today's Saturday. I almost forgot to record this. Me and my grandson was going to cut grass, and I was like, hold on a minute, I forgot. I got to finish this video. It's been exactly a week, and I'll show you. You can see a difference, and it will get, it'll be a lot more die off in the next few days. Like I said earlier, I'm pretty sure I said earlier, it's been a week ago, but it's a really slow process of the way it takes away the weeds. You think at first it's not going to be working whatsoever, and then you start to see a little change, and after a week this is what you see. You can see it starting to die off, but it will be completely killed off. It'll kill everything off completely in another week or so, but you can see the difference. I mean, my gosh. And that'll help maintaining grass as far as just cutting. You don't have to, like my grandson Mason cuts all the grass for us out here, and I'm always scared he's going to hit my grapes. We've done it. Everybody's done it. My wife's done it. I've done it. We've all taken out at least one muscadine with the lawnmower, trying to get a little too close. But now all you got to do is zoom up and down each row, one path up and down each row, and it really makes your vineyard look really pretty and uniform. It really looks pretty. And also the competition. You can tell now that all your grapes are going to get all the fertilizer and all the water they need without any competition from all the other strong weeds and grasses that are growing out here in your vineyard. And with all that fertilizer and all the watering we do, the weeds and grass grow just as fast as the muscadines. They grow super fast. But like I said earlier, to each his own. Do what you want to do as far as your weed control. Earlier plants or younger plants, I would highly recommend weed control to get them up and taken off. As they get older, like these guys, they're just really big. They have a good root structure. I think they would honestly be fine, but earlier in the year when they're just breaking bud and I'm about to fertilize in the next day or so, I really want the competition beat down. Let me show you. The leaves are breaking out on these Carlos. Is this Carlos? Carlos or Darlene's. The Darlene's and the Carlos. We already have leaves. Really, they're taking off. You hear that wind? Woo, it's windy out here. But they're taking off. Everything's looking good. Here's some Carlos. Everything's about to be ready to be fertilized, and we're getting this growing season started. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for checking out my video. That's our weed control. Not much to it. Kills all. Again, you can use weed barrier fabric. I love that stuff. I really do. If I just had a couple rows, that's what I would rather. I'd like to use that. Mulch, I do not recommend mulch. I've never tried it, but that's just what I've always heard, is that you shouldn't use mulch. So anyway, thanks so much for checking out my video. Stay tuned. We're about to start fertilizing. I was actually supposed to do it today or tomorrow. We're like 2 days away from April 1st. That's my reminder to fertilize, April 1st and the 15th. But I'll do a video on that here really soon.